filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it. They told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie. I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Used to lose, built to win, applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, applied myself.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. I'm here with the Week 11 weekend preview. Weekend college football starts in about 4 hours, 15 minutes. As you can see, repping my Ravens got a huge dub against the Bengals Thursday night. Lamar for MVP, MV3. But before I get into that, I want to get into our show. I would like to ask you to like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, helps the network. It helps my channel, CTC, by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. We got the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. 7 o'clock Eastern time. So make sure y'all tune into them when they go live. We got Unfazed featuring AJ and JJ. AJ and Joe, they go live every Tuesday, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Been NFL heavy, but like I said, they'll work the NBA in eventually. We have BWT, Baseball with Teddy. Hey, Teddy, if you're watching, I think I'm cashing in my money in the bank today. I think I'm going to cash in my Chipotle. All your baseball needs through Teddy. He did a Gold Glove, I think, or Silver Sluggers episode not too long ago. Next, we have FFC, Fantasy Football with Coach. Fantasy football, man. It's week 11, getting late into the year. It's almost playoff time. You got your starts, your sits, your gyms, all that there. Fantasy heroes. You call my man Lamar Fantasy God. So, yes, sir. But FFC. We have Dave's Doghouse, who's going live at 11 o'clock. So he's going live not too long after this. Highlights, lowlights of sports. So make sure you check that out. RBO, Real Ballers Only. Basketball content, NBA. His Magic got a W. My Pistons 4-6, man. Got a W last night against the Hawks. Shout out Cade, another triple-double for my boy. 3 straight triple-doubles for Cade Cunningham. But yeah, NBA topics, stuff like that. We have In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. Boxing episode, all your boxing, no exhibitions, all your boxing content through there. We have Kings Talk with Joe Jordan. All Sacramento Kings content normally goes live after Sacramento Kings games, post-game thoughts, rumors, stuff like that. So all your Sacramento Kings needs go through Joe Jordan as well. And I believe that's all the shows we have on the network. So if you like, comment, share, subscribe to those shows as well. And if you like what you're listening to, stick with us. Now we're going to get into – I only got 6 previews today. I know y'all like, Carl, this is crazy. 6? Normally you're doing 15, 12. Only got 6, man. I looked through the slate. Not that many big matchups this week. Now I wanted to stick to like bigger matchups because it's playoff season around the corner. It's week 11. Championship week is in like a month. So this is around the time where teams are fighting for playoff position. Try to stick to that. I do care about teams becoming bowl eligible, but that's not the large scheme of things. I know I like to talk about teams that's on the verge. I can do that some other time. We got to talk about these 6 games right here, though. And first up is a revenge game. Now, shout out Ace and Dave because I completely forgot that this game I'm talking about, this was the game last year where the U lost when they should have took a knee, fumble, and Georgia Tech won at the last second. I forgot that was Georgia Tech. I remember that happened. Forgot it was Georgia Tech. So this is a revenge game for the U. And I know I've been saying it's been a trap game. No, I didn't say it is. I think this could be a trap game. And the reason why I said that is back. Haynes King is back. He's trending to play. He's a captain for the game. I seen they upgraded him, so he's looking to play. Georgia Tech has been without Haynes King these last few weeks. Shout out Zach Pyron. He's been trying to get the job done. but Haynes King is the engine that makes this Georgia Tech offense go. But let's get into the previews. Miami, prepare as if Haynes King is the starter. Like I said, he's training to play. You got to prepare as he's going to play. Run Damian Martinez. You got to establish the run against this Georgia Tech team. Got to run the ball, open up the pass the ball. We know Cam Ward is having an amazing year for Miami passing the football, but Cam Ward can be susceptible to some crazy interceptions. Get the ball to Xavier Restrepo, man, the leading guy on the team, leading receiver. He's breaking records. He's great in open space. Get him the football. I say right here, you got to stop playing with fire. You got to stop playing with fire if you're Miami, man. They tend to go down early, go down big early, and come back late. Can't keep doing that. You're eventually going to get burned. So don't play with fire this game, especially with a Georgia Tech offense who can score. Don't play with fire. Come out swinging early. And you got to stop the run because that's what Georgia Tech is going to want to do with Jamal Haynes. And if Haynes King back, Haynes King can throw the ball, but he definitely is a threat in the run game. He's had games where he's starting to drive and he's ending it with a 20-yard touchdown run, 20-plus yard touchdown run. So got to watch Haynes King legs. Now, if you're Georgia Tech, you got to pressure Cam Ward, get to him, make him throw one of those dumb interceptions. He hasn't thrown many. I think he only had 6 on the year, but he has some that has been very stupid. You got to force turnovers. If you Georgia Tech, you got to get extra possessions. You got to force some turnovers, get some extra possessions. After that, you got to be able to establish the run. Like I said, that's your bread and butter. Now, does Georgia Tech, can they air it out? Absolutely, they can. Their bread and butter is running the football. Get the ball to Eric Singleton Jr. and Malik Rutherford, the 2 guys on the outside. They are really tough at receiver. You also have, not Jalen Lane, but I think Chase Lane. The slot, but man, you got 2 dogs and those guys on the outside, and you got to tackle in open space because, like I said, man, Xavier Restrepo, he's good after yards after the catch. He's going to make plays in the open space. You got to make those tackles, cut down on yards after the catch. But I'm rolling with Miami. I think Miami wins this game partly because Georgia Tech's defense is susceptible to the pass. They're a decent defense. But Miami is an explosive offense, and I think Miami's offense is going to give Georgia Tech's defense a lot of problems. We saw Syracuse at the Carrier Dome give Georgia Tech's offense a lot of problems, and I think Cam Ward is going to be able to imitate that today. I think Miami wins this game. Next, we have Georgia at Ole Miss. Georgia comes into this game as 1.5-point favorites on the road. Ole Miss at home, 3:30 ABC. I see why Lane Kiffin was complaining about not having a night game. This should be a night game. This for sure should be a night game. But I digress. Georgia, 3rd-ranked team in the country. Ole Miss is 16th in the country, according to the college football rankings. Georgia has to be better. They got to be better. This is like literally my first key. They got to be better. They have struggled against lesser competition. They struggled against Mississippi State. They struggled against Florida. They got to be better. Now, granted, the Florida game, it is the world's largest cocktail party. It is a rivalry game. Teams know each other. Still got to be better. Georgia hasn't looked as dominant as years past, and that could come back to bite them. They got to establish the run. Now, Trevor Etienne, from what I've seen, he is questionable. I think questionable or doubtful. I think he's trending not to play from what I'm seeing. It's some guys they're missing for Georgia. They got to contain Jackson Dart legs. I think Jackson Dart is an underrated runner, and they have to look out for that because Jackson Dart can gas your defense. Carson Beck has to protect the football. I was looking at Carson Beck stats against, like, good teams, like last week. Well, not good teams because I think he had 3 picks last week, and Florida's not a good team, but that's, again, a rivalry. They know each other. I think he had 3 picks against Florida. I think he had 2 against Texas, or 3 against Texas. He might have had 2 last week. And, like, bigger games, Carson Beck is turnover prone. Let's not forget Alabama either. Carson Beck, I'm going to get the exact numbers for y'all, but Carson Beck in bigger games have been turnover prone, and you can't do that with an Ole Miss offense that can be explosive like this. But your Carson Beck is prone to turning the ball over in big games, and that does not bode well. Let me try to find those numbers exactly for you. Also, side note while I look for these numbers, Army, 25th ranked Army, Bryson Daly, his quarterback, they're back. So Army right now, -2.5. Might want to fire that because Bryson Daly is a big piece, is the major piece, no pun intended, major Army, no pun intended, but he's the major piece of that offense. So he's back, -2.5, fire that. Might want to fire that. But here we go. Carson Beck. Game log. Against Florida, he had 3 interceptions. Not good. Against Texas, he had 3 interceptions. Not good. Against Alabama, he had 3 interceptions. Not good. Well, that's not a big game, so I won't count that. But here's another stat. Carson Beck is averaging close to 3 interceptions in these last 3 games. 3 interceptions against Florida, 3 interceptions against Texas, 2 against Mississippi State. 8 picks in the last 3 games. You got to protect the football. And my last point for Georgia, they have to use their tight ends. They have to use Ben Yurcek. They have to use Oscar Delp. They got to use their tight ends. They're going to be big pieces against this Ole Miss defense. Now, for Ole Miss, I'll say this. Trey Harris and Caden Prescorn, from what I've been looking at, they're both trending to play. I think Trey Harris got upgraded, so he's looking like he's a go against Georgia. They got to be able to establish the run with Henry Parrish and Ulysses Bentley the fourth. Got to be able to establish some type of run just to keep Georgia on their toes. You got Jordan Watkins. Last week we saw Jordan Watkins go ballistic. Can he repeat some sort of semblance of that performance last week? With Trey Harris and Caden Lee being starters, I know it's gonna be harder for him to get that performance. Like, I'm not asking you to do 250 and 5 touchdowns, but can I get, as a third option, can I get 75 and 1, 80 and 1, 80 and 2, something like that? Got to force turnovers. Like I said, Carson Beck has thrown 8 picks his last 3 games, and in big games, he's throwing 3 picks. And then get off the field on third down. This defense has to get off the field, allow Ole Miss offense to work. And I'm going with Ole Miss. I didn't write it down, but I'm going with Ole Miss to win this game. Ole Miss at home. Jackson Dart, I think he's going to have a good game. I think Lane Kiffin's going to cook up a really good game plan against this Georgia defense. And I think Carson Beck, again, is going to be turnover prone, and he's going to give Ole Miss extra possessions for them to finish. Now, have we seen Ole Miss in a game with extra possessions lose? Yes, we've seen it at LSU. But LSU at night, man, it's something magical about them Bayou Bengals at night. This is a home game. This is a game where they're fighting for their playoff lives. Give me Ole Miss to beat Georgia. Next, we got Clemson at Virginia Tech. Now, this is a good game in terms of ACC's play or ACC standings. Yes, Clemson has a loss to Louisville, but they only have that loss. Pitt, because Pitt has a loss. SMU and Miami are tied atop with 0 ACC losses, but Clemson can't afford to lose this, and Virginia Tech can't afford to lose this either as an ACC team. So that's why I put this up here. This is a big game in terms of ACC. Now, Clemson, passing game has to be a lot better. Phil Maffa did everything he could last week on the ground. The passing game just got to be better. Cade Klubnik has to be better. Kyron Jones is trending to play, so you got to contain his legs. So you know they're going to run a bunch of quarterback design run plays for Kyron Jones. They got to stop the run in general. Bashul Tootin is also on the injury report, but I think he's trending to play as well. And y'all know how I feel about Bashul Tootin. I think he is I think he might be the best player on that team. That not on the team, on that offense. Because you got Antoine Powell-Ryland, you got Dorian Strong, you got guys on that defense that's really good. But I think Bashul Tootin is one of the best players on that offense. And I think they just need to straight up run him the ball. They don't really do that. And at times, I think they get away from him at times. Run Phil Maffa. Again, Phil Maffa did all he could do last week in a loss against Louisville. Put Virginia Tech in 3rd and longs. Make Kyron Jones have to convert big third downs with his arm. And at Virginia Tech, force Clemson into passing situations. Force Cade Klubnik to beat you. Just like I said, Clemson should force Kyron Jones. V-Tech should force Cade Klubnik to beat them. Stop Phil Maffa. If you stop Phil Maffa, Clemson offense, it starts to sputter a little bit. Get off the field on third downs. That's what Louisville did, man. Louisville came and smacked Clemson in the mouth, 3 and out, getting off the field. Virginia Tech, can you do the same thing while being at home? Clock control. Control the clock if you're Virginia Tech. You like to run the ball. Keep getting first downs on the ground. Keep killing time. Drive down long clock killing drives for touchdowns. But I think I'm rolling with I wrote Clemson. And I don't like either quarterback in this matchup. I'm going to roll with Clemson. I think Clemson sticks more to the ground than Virginia Tech does. I'm going to roll with Clemson, but this one's tough for me because I don't really trust either quarterback, and I don't like the way that Virginia Tech tends to use Bashul Tootin at times. I think Clemson will use Phil Maffa better than what Virginia Tech will use Bayshore Tootin if he plays better. So I'm gonna just because of that, because I feel like Clemson will stick to the run game and use the run game and better, like scheme the run game better than Virginia Tech. That's why I'm going with Clemson. But I can see this game being very close. I'm going with Clemson on this one. Next, this game is huge for Big 12 implications. Colorado at Texas Tech. Colorado coming into this game is 4.5-point favorites against Texas Tech, who just coming off a huge upset against Iowa State, giving Iowa State its first loss in the Big 12 and first loss period. But Colorado got to stop Taj Brooks. What have I been saying Colorado's Achilles heel is? Everybody knows what Colorado's Achilles heel is. Elite running back. What is Taj Brooks? An elite running back. So they have to stop Taj Brooks. They got to force Barron Morton to throw some interceptions. He's thrown 2 last week against Iowa State. I think he threw a couple against TCU not too long ago when he got hurt. So you got to force Barron Morton to throw these interceptions. Get the ball to Travis and LaJohntay Wester. I like Will Shepherd too. Will Shepherd's a great jump ball receiver, but I think Travis is going to be huge for this game for Colorado, especially because it's a big game. And when big games come, Travis Hunter normally tends to step up. So get the ball to Travis. Got to score touchdowns, not field goals, which this Colorado offense does very well, especially with Shador at quarterback. And finally, protect Shador. You got to keep Shador upright. Excuse me. I feel like I hit him. Got to keep him upright. You got to protect Shador. Shador, to me, again, is the best college quarterback in the country, so you got to protect him. Now, for Texas Tech, get the ball to Josh Kelly. Josh Kelly was huge in the upset against Iowa State. He scored twice, I believe. Got to get Josh Kelly the ball. You got to run Taj Brooks. Again, the Achilles heel for Colorado is an elite back, which Taj Brooks is. He's going to wear down on your defense. And in the fourth quarter, teams are not going to want to tackle this guy, and he's going to break long runs. Have to contain Colorado's explosive offense, which Texas Tech has a tough time doing. They got to find a way to do so. The bottom fell out late, I'll say that, against TCU. They did a good job. They were up 20 or 17. TCU came storming back to win that game. Barron Morton has to protect the football. He definitely has to protect the football. Again, he threw 2 picks against Iowa State. Let me look. I got Barron Morton stats right here. So he has 5 picks on the season. He threw 2 against Iowa State. He actually threw none against TCU, so I must be remembering something else. Threw 1 against Baylor, and he threw 2 against Washington State. But Barron Morton has to protect his ball. You cannot give Colorado extra possessions. That offense is way too explosive, and they got to sack Shador. It's not enough to pressure Shador. You have to get him on the ground because Shador is good under pressure as well. He's been making throws under pressure. He's been making throws on the run. You have to get Shador on the ground. With that being said, I'm going with Colorado. I'm going with Colorado to win this game. Now, this is why. Now, I understand that I've said this now for the 3rd time. Colorado's Achilles heel is an elite back. Correct. But Texas Tech Achilles heel is an explosive offense. They don't have the defense to stop a crazy offense. And Colorado's coming in with an explosive offense. So I think Colorado is not going to have a problem putting up points against the Texas Tech defense. And here's another thing I say about Colorado. Although Colorado defense is viewed as bad, that second half, for whatever reason, they get adjusted and they don't allow as many points. It just is what it is. That second half, I don't know if it's the adjustments coaches make. I don't know if teams figure it out. I mean, that team figures it out. But that second half, the defense plays a lot better. So it's going to be Colorado in the second half playing better versus Taj Brooks, who wears down on the defense. And with that offense, I trust Colorado more than I trust Texas Tech to win the ball game. So give me Shador and the Buffs to win this one. Next, we have this is just a good game. I know this is just a good game. And plus, sue me, I'm a Pavia fan. I love Diego Pavia. I love what Vandy is doing. And I'm a South Carolina fan as well. I'm obviously a South Carolina fan. So I thought this was a good game to talk about. Plus, I didn't want to do 5. I didn't. I actually had 7, but Mizzou, Brady Cook is trending like he's not playing. I'm not talking about Drew Pine and Mizzou at quarterback. If Drew Pine's at quarterback, they're cooked. I'm sorry. So I scrapped that one when I found out Drew Pine is looking to be the starter against Oklahoma. But anyway, South Carolina, Vandy. South Carolina's coming to this game at 6.5-point road favorites, which I'm going to just throw that out there now. How with the way Vanderbilt has been playing, how? Now, I'm assuming the books think Pavia is not playing. But if they think Pavia is playing, I don't know how South Carolina's favored by 6.5 points. But this game is 4:15 on SEC Network. Now, if you're South Carolina, you got to stop the quarterback run. Whether it's Pavia or Nate Johnson, either one of those guys, they're running with the football. So you got to stop the quarterback run. You got to key in on Eli Stowers. Eli Stowers has been huge in the big games. He's been the go-to guy against Bama. He was the go-to guy against Kentucky. He was the go-to guy. The win last week against Auburn, he was the go-to guy. He's going to be the go-to guy. You got to run Rocket Sanders. When we have big wins, Rocket Sanders is normally the reason for it. Against Kentucky, big reason. Last week against Texas A&M Saturday, he was the big reason for it. Rocket Sanders is normally the big reason why we have our upsets. He was going to be a big reason. Well, not a big reason. That was mainly going to be Lenore Sellers. But against LSU, he was going to be a reason we won. Lenore Sellers has to run and keep the defense honest. He broke a long run against LSU. He's going to break some runs. He got to run the football just to keep the defense honest. And you got to get the ball to Maceo Bennett. Now, if you're Vanderbilt, obviously Pavia is number one on the list as a key to winning the game. He should be playing, and you got to run him. You got to run him because that's what he does, man. He runs the football. He runs tough. He runs hard, and he puts a lot of pressure on your defense with his legs. I have clock control because Vanderbilt is really a running team. They're a running team with Cedric Alexander and Diego Pavia. They run the ball. I won't say it's rare they'll beat you with the air and with the pass, but they want to run the ball, control the clock. Stop Rocket Sanders. Just explain why. Get Eli Stowers the ball, and you got to run Cedric Alexander if he is playing. I think he's trending to play, but if he's available, you got to run Cedric. My winner, and again, this hurts because I'm a South Carolina fan, but Vandy has been playing ball against better competition. The bigger the opponent, the better they play. Now, I'm not saying South Carolina is a top opponent, no. But what I'm saying is Vanderbilt don't sleep at the wheel. They don't care. The bigger you are, the more better they play. But it's not like they play down either. They come to play every week. South Carolina is going to be a really good game. But Vanderbilt just has a knack of pulling games out. Against Kentucky, they found a way to pull it out. Against Alabama, they converted first down to pull it out. Against Texas, they were right there against Texas. They just couldn't get it done. Another reason why I'm taking Vanderbilt, they're at home. They're at home in Nashville. So I'm taking Vanderbilt. As much as it hurts as a South Carolina fan, I'm taking Vandy to beat South Carolina at home. And last, but certainly not least, a huge game in the SEC. Oh, I'm going to turn the page. I don't need to. Huge game. 11th ranked Alabama fighting to stay in the playoffs, which I think, side note, I think the college football committee is going to find a way to get them in there no matter what. At night, on the road against LSU, another team fighting to stay alive in the playoffs. 7:30 on ABC, and Alabama is coming into this one as 2.5-point road favorites. Coming into the boots at night as a road favorite. Let's get into it. So Alabama obviously has to run Jalen Milroe. He has to use his legs. He has to. He was last year. Huge reason why they beat Jaden Daniels and LSU last year. It's going to be a huge reason if Alabama wins this one. They got to get the ball to Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy Bernard, a big receiver. I think Jeremy Bernard is a receiver that don't get talked about enough, transferring over from Washington. Him and Ryan Williams have to do some damage on the outside. They got to pressure Garrett Nussmeier. Garrett Nussmeier, I think he's coming off a 3-pick. Yeah, he's coming off a 3-pick game. So I don't think LSU played last weekend. So he's coming off a 3-pick game against Texas A&M. To be honest, he was the sole reason they lost, in my opinion, to Texas A&M. Because they were doing a really good job against Texas A&M. I think they dominated that game before the Nuts started throwing the ball over. Got to pressure him, get him to turn the ball over. Contain Caden Durham, again, the young freshman who's having a really good season, true freshman for LSU. Got to contain him at the running back position. And you got to get off the field on third downs. Alabama, in my opinion, this isn't the same Alabama defense. In my opinion, they have a tough time getting off the field on third downs. They got to against this high-powered LSU offense. Now, LSU, you got to establish some type of run with Caden Durham. You got to at least, even if he's not getting yardage, you got to keep going to it. You can't be one-dimensional. You got to at least stick with it. LSU has to get the ball to their guys, Kyron Lacey, wide receiver, who's having a phenomenal year. And Mason Taylor, tight end, who's having a phenomenal year. Got to get those two guys the ball. Garrett Nussmeier has to protect the ball. He has to protect the ball. Again, they were trending to beat Texas A&M. 3 costly turnovers cost them the game. Contain Jalen Milroe's legs. That is a huge part of the Alabama offense. Jalen Milroe running the ball. I will say this. Jalen Milroe's a good quarterback. He doesn't look the same throwing the ball this year. His superpower this year is running the football. Contain his legs. And you got to key in on Ryan Williams, man. Ryan Williams, whenever they need to play, whenever they down and they need something huge, it normally goes to Ryan Williams. So you got to key in on him. You got to know who he is at all times. Might even have to bracket him. I know, crazy. But you got to key in on him. But despite Nussmeier, again, with these interceptions, 3 interceptions against Texas A&M, 2 against Ole Miss. They won the Ole Miss game, lost Texas A&M. Despite that, I have LSU, and here's why. That Ole Miss game with 2 interceptions, they should not have won that game. But for some reason, Ole Miss could not capitalize. For some reason, that night game, that atmosphere kept LSU in that game. Again, another night game for LSU. There's actually 3 night games in the last 4 weeks. They just had 1 in Fayetteville, not LSU. But this is 2 night games at home in the last 4 weeks, 3 night games in general in the last 4 weeks for LSU. It's just something about playing LSU at night where things get spooky. And I think LSU pulls this game out. They're at home. I don't think Nuss throws as many. I don't think he might throw 1, but I don't think he's going to be turnover prone like the other 2 big games. Those receivers, man, they're tough to stop. Alabama's defense again hasn't been the same. They've been susceptible to some plays. Alabama offense do tend to sputter. I think Jalen Milroe will get off on the ground, but I just think LSU at night at home, that home crowd, they will find a way to pull this game out. So give me the LSU Tigers to win this football game. And that's all I got for y'all today. Y'all enjoyed this college football Saturday. Again, shout out my Ravens. Huge win against the Bengals. I will be talking about the Champions Classic. The Champions Classic is next Tuesday. We have MSU and Kansas at 6:30. We have Duke and Kentucky at 9 o'clock. I will talk about that. A college basketball game to look out for. Auburn, Houston, they play tonight, 8 o'clock. Auburn, they have a whole new roster with all those guys. Transfer portal, Trey Donaldson. I think Aiden Holloway. I think he left too. So whole new roster there. Houston, Kelvin Sampson, normally a really good defensive team. They've been really good on both ends of the floor the last couple years. No Jamal Shady's gone to the league, so it's good. It's going to be fun to see who leads the show this year. And another game we have Sunday, Wake Forest. Please beat Michigan. I understand Michigan has a total revamped roster. I hated to say it. I actually like what Michigan did in the offseason this year. They hired Dusty May. Dusty May came in and got a bunch of good players. They even flipped Roddy Gale, from Ohio State to Michigan, which was crazy. But please beat Michigan. Please. Read these comments, and I'm going to call it a day. Dave said, shout out my boy Dave, Hill in the Mental. He says the U. And he said Auburn and Houston should be a good game. Facts. It should. So, but that's all I got for y'all today. Until next time. I don't know when I'm going to go live. I might talk about the Champions Classic tomorrow because I don't got a game. Shoot, I'm watching the NFL. Might be tomorrow, might be Monday morning. But until then, I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.